Level 1, the script Kiddie. You download a ransomware kit from a forum. It's called CryptoLocker Pro, and it comes with a PDF instruction manual. The interface looks like a Windows 95 program. 3 buttons: encrypt, decrypt, generate Bitcoin wallet. You're sitting in your bedroom. Your little brother is playing Fortnite in the next room. The kit cost you $300 in Bitcoin. You bought the Bitcoin from a guy on Local Bitcoins who met you at a Starbucks. He looked like an IT consultant. He didn't ask questions. You open the targeting module. It asks for an email list. You don't have one. So you scrape LinkedIn for small business owners in your state. 847 emails. Dental offices, law firms, veterinary clinics, one-person accounting shops. You're looking for people who can't afford real IT security but have enough money to pay. You customize the ransom note. The template has a skull ASCII art. You change it to something that sounds professional. Your files have been encrypted using military-grade AES 256. To recover your data, payment of $500 must be made to the Bitcoin address below within 72 hours. You click send. The phishing emails go out at 2 a.m. The subject line is invoice overdue, immediate action required. The attachment is called invoice_final_notice.pdf.exe, but the .exe part is hidden by default in Windows. Most people won't notice. You go to bed, you check your Bitcoin wallet when you wake up, nothing yet. That will change at level 2. Level 2, the first hit. Someone clicked. You're staring at your laptop screen at 9:47 a.m. Your Bitcoin wallet shows an incoming transaction, 0.0234 Bitcoin. That's $498 at current exchange rates. You refresh the command and control dashboard. 1 infection. The victim's computer ID is a random string of letters and numbers. You can see their IP address. It resolves to a dental office in Ohio. Dr. Patricia Kemper, DDS. She clicked the attachment at 8:30 a.m. when she got to work. The ransomware encrypted 2,847 files, patient records, x-rays, billing documents, appointment schedules, everything with a .doc, .pdf, .jpg, or .xlsx extension. The encryption key is stored on your server. She can't get her files back without it. You're supposed to send the decryption key after payment. That's the deal. That's what keeps the ecosystem functioning. If you don't decrypt, word gets out and no one pays. So you do it. You click the button, the key gets sent. 30 minutes later, her files are back. You check forums that night. Other script kiddies are celebrating their first hits, posting screenshots, bragging about payout amounts. Someone made $12,000 from a law office, and someone else got $3,000 from a medical practice. The success rate is low. Maybe 2% of targets pay, but the volume makes it work. You send another campaign, 1,200 emails this time. You're getting better at the targeting, but you're still alone in your bedroom, still using a kit someone else built. You need to move up. That starts at level 3. Level 3, the affiliate. You join a ransomware as a service operation. They're called Lockbit, or maybe Revel or Maze. Doesn't matter. They all work the same way. They provide the infrastructure. You provide the targets. The application process is on a Tor forum. You need 3 references from established members. You lie. You claim you've been in the game for 2 years. You fake screenshots of previous payouts. 2 of your references are fake accounts you created 6 months ago. The third is a guy you paid $500 to vouch for you. You get accepted. They send you the affiliate package. This isn't a script kiddie kit anymore. This is professional grade malware, polymorphic code that changes its signature every deployment, anti-sandbox detection, rootkit functionality. It can evade 90% of antivirus software. The split is 70-30. You get 70% of every ransom you collect. The operators take 30%. They handle the infrastructure, the payment processing, the negotiation support, the decryption key escrow. You just need to get the malware onto target networks. You're not sending phishing emails anymore. You're buying access. There's a marketplace for this. Compromised RDP credentials, VPN logins, exploited firewall vulnerabilities. You pay $800 for access to a construction company's network, 45 employees, annual revenue around $8 million. You're in. Yeah, you deploy the ransomware at 3 a.m. on a Friday. By morning, every computer in their office is locked. The ransom note asks for $120,000. That's their annual revenue divided by 70. The standard formula, they can afford it. They will pay it. They pay $85,000 after negotiation. Your cut is $59,500. You've made more in 1 week than you made all last year. You run 5 more attacks that month. But the operators are watching everything you do. Remember that. It matters later. Level 4. The access broker. You stop deploying ransomware yourself. You start selling access instead. It's lower risk, higher volume, better margins. You're scanning the internet. Shodan, Census, Zoomeye. These are search engines for connected devices. You're looking for exposed RDP ports, misconfigured VPNs, unpatched Exchange servers, Fortinet firewalls with known vulnerabilities. There are millions of them. You find 140 vulnerable targets in 1 day. You don't exploit all of them. You prioritize. You're looking for businesses with revenue between $5 million and $50 million. Big enough to pay, small enough to lack serious security, manufacturing, healthcare, legal, architecture, injury and engineering firms. You gain access to a hospital network in Tennessee, 200 beds. You don't deploy anything. You just document the access, domain admin credentials, network topology, backup locations, data exfiltration possibilities. You write this up in a clean access report. You list it on a form for $5,000. It sells in 6 hours. The buyer is an affiliate for Conti. You never learn their real name. You never learn what happens to the hospital. You read the news 3 weeks later. That hospital paid a $1.2 million ransom. Your $5,000 commission seems small now. You sell access to 22 networks that month. Total revenue, $67,000. You're not the one pulling the trigger anymore. You're the gun dealer. You tell yourself that makes you less responsible. You're sitting in a Starbucks when you sell access to a school district. You drink a caramel macchiato. You don't think about the kids. You've joined the supply chain. You're not at the top, not even close, but you're no longer at the bottom. The people who buy from you, they're operating at the level you'll reach next. Level 5, the operator. You build your own ransomware variant. You don't use anyone else's code anymore. You're not an affiliate. You're the operation. You hire developers, 3 of them, 1 in Romania, 1 in India, 1 in Russia. You pay them in Bitcoin. You never meet them. You communicate through encrypted Jabber. They're building the cryptographic engine, the persistence mechanisms, the data exfiltration modules, the leak site infrastructure. You call your ransomware Dark Vault, but the name doesn't matter. The brand matters, the reputation matters. You need victims to believe you'll decrypt their files. You need the media to write about you. You need security researchers to classify you as a tier 1 threat. You launch your leak site on Tor. It's a clean WordPress install with a dark theme. You list victims who don't pay. You publish their stolen data, financial records, employee information, customer databases, client communications. This isn't about encryption anymore. It's about extortion. You're threatening to destroy their reputation if they don't pay. Your first major victim is a law firm in New York, 180 employees. You encrypt their files. You exfiltrate 400 gigabytes of client data. You demand $750,000. They refuse. You publish the data, documents from divorce cases, corporate litigation, criminal defense, personal emails, affairs, financial settlements. The media coverage is instant. They pay $600,000 3 days later, but the data is already out. You decrypt their files anyway. You have to maintain the brand. Trust is everything in ransomware. Strange sentence, but it's true. You run 11 attacks that quarter, total revenue $4.2 million. You pay your developers, you pay your access brokers, you pay for infrastructure, servers in bulletproof hosting, VPNs, encryption tools, money laundering services. Your net profit is $2.1 million. You're not in your bedroom anymore. You're in an apartment in Bucharest or Bangkok or Minsk. You've crossed borders. You've left your old life. There's no going back from here. That's the cost you'll understand at level 8. Level 6, the cartel. You're part of a collective now. 6 operators, different specialties. You run the ransomware operation. Someone else handles the initial access. Someone else manages the cryptocurrency laundering. Someone else handles the leak sites and media relations. Someone else runs counterforensics. Someone else manages the affiliate network. You meet once a year in person, a city like Dubai or Istanbul or Tbilisi, places where law enforcement doesn't care, places where money buys silence. You rent out a hotel conference room, you discuss targets, revenue splits, operational security, new attack vectors. Your collective is targeting Fortune 1000 companies now, right? Energy companies, healthcare systems, insurance providers. You're not scanning Shodan anymore. You're hiring penetration testers, ex-intelligence operatives, people who worked for NSA contractors, people who built the tools you're now buying on the black market. You hit a hospital network with 12 facilities. You encrypt everything, PACS systems, electronic health records, pharmacy databases, lab equipment. You demand $10 million. The FBI gets involved immediately. The hospital refuses to pay. They're restoring from backups. It takes them 19 days, like 3 patients die because of delayed surgeries. You read about this in the news. You're drinking coffee in a cafe. You close the browser tab. You hit a pipeline company. They pay $4.4 million in 6 hours. The fuel shortage reaches the East Coast. Gas prices spike. The news cycle runs for 2 weeks. The White House makes a statement. You're mentioned by name, your operation, your ransomware. You've reached national threat status. That's when you realize you're not a criminal anymore. You're a geopolitical actor. Your collective grosses $47 million that year. Your personal cut is $9 million. You've moved it through 15 cryptocurrency exchanges, 3 shell companies, 2 real estate purchases. You own an apartment in Prague you've never visited. You're rich. You're untouchable. You're wrong about the second part. That becomes clear at level 9. Level 7, the state actor. You don't work for yourself anymore. You work for a government, Russia, North Korea, Iran, China, doesn't matter which. The structure is the same. You're not technically an employee, you're a contractor. Your unit is called something bureaucratic. Advanced Persistent Threat Group or Research Institute or Technology Development Center. You get paid through a front company, software development, cybersecurity consulting. The irony is noted. Your targets are assigned. You don't choose them. And the Intelligence Directorate provides a list: defense contractors, energy infrastructure, government agencies, financial institutions. These aren't crimes. These are operations. You have immunity. You have state resources. You have diplomatic cover. You hit a defense contractor in Maryland. You're not after ransom. You're after intellectual property, weapons schematics, classified communications, employee databases. You deploy ransomware as a distraction. While they're dealing with the encryption, you're exfiltrating everything that matters to a server in Shanghai, or Pyongyang, or Moscow. The ransomware demands $2 million. They don't pay. They don't need to. The real theft already happened. Like, the ransomware was the magician's left hand. You were never after money. You were after leverage. You hit a pharmaceutical company. You steal COVID vaccine research. You deploy ransomware to cover the exfiltration. 6 months later, your government announces a breakthrough vaccine. It's the same formula. No one can prove it. No one will say it publicly, but everyone knows. You're sitting in an office building in a city you can't name. You have a badge, you have a salary, you have benefits, you clock in at 9 a.m., you clock out at 6 p.m., you're a cyber warrior, you're a ransomware operator, you're both. The lines don't exist anymore. You've run 40 operations this year. Only 8 involved ransom demands, the rest were pure espionage. Ransomware is just a tool now. The label doesn't capture what you actually do. But you're still called a ransomware group by Western intelligence. The terminology is outdated. You've evolved past it. The next level shows you what that evolution costs. Level 8, the hunted. You're on a list: FBI most wanted cybercriminals, Europol high value target, Interpol red notice. Your face is public. Your real name is published, your aliases are documented, your operational patterns are analyzed in threat intelligence reports. You can't travel. 50 countries have extradition treaties with the United States. You're sitting in Moscow or Pyongyang or Tehran. You're safe here, theoretically, as long as you stay useful, as long as your government values you more than they value diplomatic relations. That calculation can change. You read about the arrests, other operators from your level, a Russian hacker extradited from South Korea, a Ukrainian developer arrested in Poland, a Romanian affiliate grabbed at the airport in Madrid. The FBI is patient. They wait years. They wait for you to make one mistake, one trip to the wrong country, one moment of complacency. You have $23 million in cryptocurrency. You can't spend most of it. The blockchain is transparent. Every transaction is monitored. You move it through mixers, you convert it through privacy coins, you lose 30% to laundering fees. You convert what's left into real estate in countries that don't ask questions. You own property you'll never see. You're watching your back constantly, not from law enforcement, from your own people. A British hacker from your collective disappeared last year. His last known location was Bangkok. The rumor is he was planning to cooperate with the FBI. The rumor is his own crew found out. No one has heard from him since. You change your phone every 2 weeks. You use encrypted messaging, but you don't trust it. You assume every conversation is compromised. You meet contacts in person, in parks, in loud restaurants. You speak in generalities. You never admit anything directly. This is your life now. Operational security isn't a practice. It's a psychological condition. You're 31 years old. You can't go home. You can't see your family without putting them at risk. Your mother thinks you work in software development. She's not wrong exactly. You're rich and isolated and paranoid. That's the tax you pay at this level. It gets worse from here. Level 9, the indicted. The indictment is 47 pages. United States District Court, Southern District of New York. Your name is on page 3, 18 counts, computer fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy, aggravated identity theft. The damages are listed as $127 million across 340 victims. The penalties are listed as 20 years per count. That's 360 years if they run consecutively. The press release is published by the Department of Justice. Your photo is included. It's from your old Facebook account. You're smiling. You look like someone's nephew. The press release lists every ransomware operation attributed to you, every victim company, every ransom payment. The FBI agent quoted in the release says you'll be brought to justice. He says they're patient. You're reading this from an apartment in a city where the FBI can't reach you, but that protection has a price. You're useful to your host government as long as you keep operating, as long as you're running attacks that align with their interests. The moment you stop being useful, you become a bargaining chip. A former colleague gets extradited. You read about it in Krebs on security. He was arrested in Armenia during a vacation. Armenia has an extradition treaty. He's facing 30 years. The article includes his lawyer's statement. He's cooperating. He's naming names. You wonder if your name is on his list. You shut down your operation. You don't deploy ransomware anymore. You're not an operator. You're just a person with an indictment, waiting. You've moved your cryptocurrency through every mixer and privacy protocol available. You've lost track of half of it. The exchanges keep freezing your accounts. Chainalysis has flagged your wallets. You're rich on paper. You're cash poor in reality. You think about surrender. The thought comes to you at 4 a.m. You're lying awake in bed. You calculate the sentence with cooperation. Maybe 10 years, you'd be 41 when you got out. You could see your family again. You could travel. You could stop looking over your shoulder. You don't surrender. Not yet. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right deal. You tell yourself things might change. You tell yourself a lot of things at 4 a.m. that don't sound convincing by morning. You're stuck. That's the trap at this level. You're too deep to get out, too visible to disappear, too valuable to be abandoned, too dangerous to be trusted. You're waiting for something to change. At level 10, it does. Level 10, the forgotten. 5 years have passed. You're not headline news anymore. A new ransomware group is the priority threat now. They're hitting bigger targets, using better techniques. The security industry writes about them. The FBI puts them on the most wanted list. You're yesterday's threat. Your indictment is still active. Your warrants are still valid. But the task force that was hunting you has moved on. Resources are finite. Attention is finite. You're just one of 400 names on a database somewhere. Checked quarterly by an analyst who doesn't remember why you mattered. You're still in the same city, different apartment, different name. You work as a freelance developer now, legitimate work, clean clients. You're building WordPress sites for small businesses. You make $3,000 a month. You used to make that in an hour. You don't miss it as much as you thought you would. Your old colleagues are gone, some arrested, some disappeared, some killed in unrelated incidents that maybe weren't unrelated. The forums where you used to operate are shut down, the Tor sites are seized, the affiliate networks are dismantled. The infrastructure you helped build is now a case study in cybersecurity courses. You access your old cryptocurrency wallets once a year. Most of them are empty, seized, frozen, lost in exchange, collapses. You have maybe $400,000 left across various privacy coins. You don't know how to cash it out without getting flagged. So it just sits there. Digital numbers representing a past life you can't access. You think about your first ransomware attack sometimes. The dental office in Ohio, Dr. Patricia Kemper, you got $498. You were sitting in your bedroom. Your little brother was playing video games next door. You thought that was the beginning of something. You were right, but not the way you imagined. Someone just downloaded a ransomware kit from a forum. It cost them $300 in Bitcoin. They're sitting in their bedroom. Their little brother is playing Fortnite in the next room. They're opening the targeting module. They're thinking about which businesses to hit. They're thinking about that first payout. They're thinking this is just the beginning. You don't know them. You'll never meet them, but you know exactly how this ends.